Hi, today I'm going to show you a demonstration of how to load a 4x5" film holder. The processes that I'm going to teach are the same if you're going to load an 8x10 film holder, if you're crazy enough to want to load an 11x14 film holder, or if you're just completely out of your mind and you want to load a 16x20 film holder. The process will be the same. It's really the scale of the material that changes. So in order to start, what you are going to do is you're going to take a box of film and you're going to open this in the dark, complete darkness, with a razor blade. And from there, you're going to remove one sheet that will be your own piece to practice with. I am going to take you through a demonstration beginning with paper so that you can see the loading of a film holder with paper. I'm going to move on to film, and finally at the end I will give you a tip so that you can get past this part of the learning process and get on with the important part of making pictures. So let's get started. This is a 4x5" film holder made by Fidelity. It's constructed of plastic and an excellent choice for 4x5 film. Both sides are identical, affording 2 sheets of film or 2 exposures per side. This is a dark slide. It has a white side to indicate unexposed film. You'll see the raised dots there, and a black slide that is smooth. This indicates exposed film. The dark slide is easily replaced in the film holder and ready to be loaded with film. Loading the film happens in complete darkness, with the dark slide pulled out just far enough to expose the 2 inner rails, which the film is going to rest beneath. You can see those here and here. I'm going to use a piece of paper to give a very clear idea of how the film is placed into the holder. So the flap at the opposite end is held open with your finger, and the paper is gently slid beneath the 2 rails and then pushed all the way in to the holder. Here you can see that the paper is beneath each of the rails, right there and on the bottom here. Once the flap is returned or closed in its position, it's clear that you can see this paper is beneath each of those rails. I'm touching that with my finger, not the rail on top, or the slot actually that's made for the dark slide. So once you're sure that the film has been inserted, you go ahead and close the dark side. It's a good chance to double check that the raised bumps are facing out, indicating that you have unexposed film loaded into the dark slide. Looking closely, we can see that the paper is seated beneath the rail within the holder. It's necessary to clean the film holder with an anti-static brush before loading the film itself. This is done in daylight to ensure that the holder is completely cleaned. So you'll begin by removing the dark slide completely and placing the holder aside so that you do not brush any dust from the dark slide itself into the holder. So you carefully clean the white side first, then the dark side. Hold it in your hand, and then insert it gently just part of the way into the holder itself. You'll want to open the flap and then brush the inside of the holder out, making sure that you're cleaning all the way underneath the rails, getting any dust visible or otherwise out. At that point, you will go ahead and gently slide the holder back in, and you're ready for loading the film. Opening the box of film is done in absolute darkness, with no daylight or darkroom safe light of any kind. The film is packaged inside of a 3-layer box. You'll see the opening of this box here. That is the innermost box there that ultimately holds a black sleeve, within which you will find another cardboard sleeve that holds the actual film itself. This helps prevent light and dust from reaching the film. So there being the cardboard sleeve on the inside that keeps dust off of it. When you open that up, you will find 25 sheets of film. And you want to make sure that the film is oriented with these notches in the upper right. If you open it and you find that the notches are in the upper left, you have it emulsion side down. So go ahead and turn it around. Once you have it oriented properly and you're ready to load it, I tend to put this onto the box itself. So basically I slide it in there like that, and I even use the lid to sort of elevate the film above the shelf itself so that you're free from any dust. And then you can go ahead and carefully begin removing the film. So again, working in complete darkness, I go ahead and slide the dark slide out just far enough to expose the rails. So I go ahead and feel for these with my finger to make sure that the orientation is proper. And then I carefully pull a single sheet of film out from the stack and open the far edge flap and then load the film into the holder. So I place it against the side and then just gently slide it so that it goes down beneath the rails until it can't go in any further. You'll find that the far end of the film holder has these raised areas as well as this finger tab. Those indicate that it's in the proper, that it's seated all the way. The finger tab is there so that you can remove it at a later point in time. I use my fingers to check. I actually touch the film just a little bit to make sure that it's actually under those rails. And then I go ahead and close up the flap, and close the dark slide, and know that it's seated properly. So a properly loaded film holder will have the film under both of the rails on the left side and on the right side. And it's normal for there to be a small gap, as you'll see by this brightly colored line at the top. So this is what I call the 20 times exercise. And the idea is that you're going to load a sheet of film 20 times with the lights on in pure daylight, and then you'll do it again 20 times with the lights off in complete darkness. So you'll remove a single sheet of film and essentially place it into the film holder under the rails and remove it. Do it again. Put it into the film holder and take it out, and just do this 20 times. Just count all the way to 20. And then you're going to do the same thing with the lights off. And the idea is that you gain the muscle memory of doing it in the dark so that you can get on with the important part of using a view camera and put the mechanical stuff behind you forever. Once all the holders are loaded, I go through and I stack them up and I just lock each of these little tabs. These turn in opposite directions and they ensure that none of the dark slides can be accidentally removed. You can see that they're nice and locked. And at this point, you're ready to go out in the field and have some fun making pictures.